Grace and peace to you all. This is Pastor Pimpong, and today I'm coming to you from North Jowulu, here in Accra, Ghana. And I want to bring to you a good friend that I've met. He's a chief, actually, a chief. You know, we've heard so many things about chieftaincies, and so many of us Christians, we frown at the idea that a Christian is to become a chief because of all the rituals that is involved, you know. But today I had a high honor of meeting this young man who has told me a lot, giving me his testimony is something that I believe the whole world has to hear. So he's here, and I'm going to introduce him to you. Okay? Hello.
Hi.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome to the Pimpong's unique show. Okay?
Thank you, Reverend.
Amen. Now, I want you to introduce, let the people know we are talking to, your school name and your actually ordinary name and also the school name.
Thank you very much, Reverend, for the opportunity. I always wish to have this opportunity so that the world will know that among Christ there's no any other power. My name is Kwame Nkansah II, Divisional Chief of tomorrow, Awori in the western region of Ghana. Before then, I was Louis Kwekuyamwa, but the school name is Kwame Nkansah. So now my name has changed from a previous one to Nana Kwame Nkansah II.
That's good. And I was telling you how I've heard a lot about you. My nephew, who is behind the camera, Pastor George N.T., speaks so highly about you, of you actually. Actually, you are all partners in business. Is that right?
That's right.
You know, he speaks so highly of you. And then I got to meet you for the first time today. And then he told me that you are a chief. I said, well, let me find out what it entails as a chief. No, growing up, or when I became a Christian, we've heard that, you know, most Christians, a Christian doesn't have to be a chief. Why? Because of the rituals. You pour libation, you have to slaughter a sheep, you have to pour the blood over your feet, and on and on and on those things. So I said, so when you hear that a Christian is a chief, you say, how? How does a Christian become a chief? Does he subordinate himself to all these powers and become a servant to the stool that has rituals that have been poured on it? So tell us, how do you reconcile being a Christian and a chief at the same time?
Thank you very much. I believe strongly that becoming a chief is a call. And I see it as a leadership role.
Now, let's hold your thought.
Okay.
When you say it's a call, does it mean that those who have become chiefs and have poured libation and are worshiping the idols and everything, God called them to go and serve those idols too? I want you to draw a distinction.
That's correct.
Okay.
Because I'm coming from the Christian background, I see it as a call. As somebody is called also to pastor. In the traditional way, I don't see it as a call those who worship idols. I see it as a lineage where it has become necessary that that person should be selected to become a chief, because in Ghana, for you to become a chief, it's a royal family that goes in tens. So me, I see it as a call because I see it as a leader, like a pastor, or any other position that God allows you to bring on board what good things you have for a group of people. So from where I'm coming from and what I've gone through, I see it as a call, so that whatever God has for me, I will use it also as a pastor to influence my people, my generation, things regarding to God or Christ. So that is how I see it. Some people are picked or selected based on traditional their lineage. So me, I see it as a call because I believe that I've been given a mantle to lead and bring out the things of God in me, so that the community will come to know God more. So that's why I see it as a call.
Now, talking about Western region, especially in the area, in Zima area, we know that when it comes to these demonic powers, talking about witchcraft, talking about juju, talking about all those things, occultism, it abounds in that area. So just the very fact idea that God is calling you into an area like that, it means that there are a lot of things that have to be broken. Because you are almost like a light going into a dark place. Now, how did it happen?
Wonderful. The reason why I said it's a call, let me just add it to that. It took me over 7 years to accept that position. As you already said, it is the chieftaincy in that area has a lot of rituals. And me as a believer and from Assemblies of God Church, being a deacon for 22 years, it was difficult for me to reconcile the two. I see that the two.
The light and dark.
Exactly. So it took me a lot of time. Yeah. And anywhere I go in a gathering among my pastors, the revelation will come that God is calling you to lead your people, not as a pastor but as a chief. Because as a chief, you are a leader. When you speak, people listen. You bring out policies, people listen. You can only do that not as a pastor but as a chief, because there were almost about 8,000 people under me. So it means that any good policy that God will let me bring, almost about 8,000 people will be affected. So after the 7 years, it was clear. I have a lot of dreams, visions, that I have to be a chief. So I realized that I told God that now it is clear that you are calling me as a leader. So I told my people that I'm coming not as a chief to lord over you, but to serve you, because Christ came not to be served, but to serve. So blending the two, I really knew the person that was calling me. And again, it is a time for me to really, for God to prove himself among a lot of chiefs in our area who are in black, if I say in black, who have other powers apart from Christ.
Who are dedicated.
Dedicated, yes, to serve other gods. So, to me, it was not difficult for me because I realized that it was a real calling from God. And whatever power that I need, you will give it to me for me to be able to. You need only one light to bring down darkness. So, with that power that is being given to me from Christ, I know that it's going to use me as a test case for other chiefs to know that among all the gods, there's only one God. And there's no any sacrifice again, one time by Christ. So there's no need for us to sacrifice any sheep or any man again. So doing the true reconciliation was not difficult for me because I've tested and tasted God. And I know that definitely with this darkness I'm going to, the light will overcome the darkness.
Amen. So can you give me a testimony of, because there is going to be the time for coronation and all those things, and when you have a ritual already established, to install you as a chief, you have to go through the same formality, whether it is slaughtering a sheep and sprinkling of legs on those, or you have to go through all those things. So give us a testimony. How were you able to overcome all those things to become a chief?
Thank you very much. This one is $1 million question. I was able to psych my mind that there are a lot of rituals and tradition, but I saw them as, to me, as nothing. Within me, I realized that things that were tradition, that was not related to pornography and blood sharing. Those that were related to those things, I was going to tell them, I'm not interested, because they begged me to become a chief. Therefore, whatever I want to tell them, they should listen. That's why it took me 7 years. They were coming to me. In fact, we want you to lead a community. We want you to lead a community. So I told them, these are some of the things I don't want to do, because you know where I'm coming from. So they understood. And they said, okay, Nana, if you do it and nothing will happen to you, we don't care. So nothing will happen to me, because I know whom I'm following. So For example, if you want to go into the blood stool, you have to slaughter the sheep. I told them I'm not interested. So all the things that were related to blood, that were things that related to calling of gods, I told them I'm not interested. And truly, let me just give you about 3 testimonies. The time that we did the ceremony, the first 7 days, I had a lot of attacks. Because that is where other powers want to test you really. So some would decide to destruct the occasion by bringing in rains. That the whole day, the occasion will not be, you cannot start at all. Some will want to, maybe in the palanquin, some want to test you so to bring you down. And that to cause any unnecessary happenings to those who are carrying you. Some will want to cause, you can have you can be blind even in the process. Yes, you can be blind in the process, yes.
Wow.
Because that is the time that they want to test the power that you have. People come there with powers, with talisman, with the other powers or courtism. So this guy is coming to the chieftaincy. We want to know the power behind him.
Now you talk about talisman, because that is what the Muslims do, is that right?
Yes, but this way we have a traditional talisman.
Okay.
Where you invoke spirits. You pick certain leaves. They will invoke spirits in it. They will pour blood and mix it.
Wow.
And put it in a bag that you can put on your waist. So within that period, the first one was the 7 days, where I was praying almost every day, 12 o'clock, midnight. God revealed a lot of things to me. The next one was the rain, when we were ready to start the occasion. That somebody caused the rain so that all the activity will be disrupted.
What happened? What happened then?
What happened was that there was this gentleman, almost about 15 years, after we set off at a Deba, 15 years urinating.
Now, a Deba, for those of you who are not familiar with a Deba is a name given to the event, the day of coronations. Is where they bring all the chiefs, they bring everybody around, to celebrate the installment. It's called a Deba. So that's what we do.
So a young man of 15 years started urinating the whole place.
Around there?
Yes.
Whole place. Wow, that's a
And people were saying, no, but 15 years you're of age. And they were preventing, but still this guy has to urinate. And almost about 15 minutes that after urinating the place, heavy rain started.
So he was actually sent to urinate around the whole
disrupt the whole
thing
and
through the urination.
Exactly.
Wow.
And within the communities around, it was only that community, Jomoro, that was raining.
Jomoro is surrounded by
several communities.
Yes. And yet it only rained at that
there.
place.
So people would just come from the next, it's not raining the next village at Oponkum. Why should we see rain at Jomoro? And I told God that, God, these are some of the things people want to see the power that is behind you. I spent a lot of money. A lot of people have come very far and near to grace the occasion. So if this thing should prevent us, it will be a very big deal. And it will seem that the gods, those smaller gods, they have overpowered me. And I prayed this prayer in less than 30 minutes. The rain stopped and there was a heavy sunshine.
Amen. That shows the power of God over all those powers.
So, and they came to me, I don't know what happened. Why is it that the rain had just stopped? I said, no. I said, what power are you using within that period? And I told them, I'm using the power from above. You are just using the power on the ground, but I'm using the power from above. And I told you that there's this power that I'm depending on. Yes. So, then they were actually overwhelmed. So we were able to finish the occasion. Now the next testimony was that the next day they wanted to test me, so they came to my residence in the night. I didn't see, but it happened after the next day. They were going to test the power again, and there was a tender. Though I was asleep. I'm taking this as a reporting speed the next day. That the guy said he wanted to put a talisman in front of my residence, and in the night around 2 o'clock, heavy tender struck. And the guy had to go back to the community shouting.
So he was going to put something in front of the door.
Yes. So the next day,
when you open your door, you may collapse. And
yes. I said, oh, this guy has no power.
Wow.
So he was picked to this Muslim Disco Christo Church. That's one Nakaba. That's where they do this occultism. So the next 2 days, they say, Anana, one of our elders is sick at the Muslim Disco. And they said he came to a resident the next day to test the power that we have. And he was tried by tender. So I said, wow.
So that guy was a member of the Muslim Disco Christo Church?
No, that guy was a member of my elders.
Oh, and so he had to go to pray for them to pray for him
because
the confession.
Exactly. They normally Muslim Disco is one of the occultic churches in Ghana. And that is where people, when they are in difficulty, they don't know God, that's where they go. So this elder, among my elders, was trying to test me again. And tender strike, and he had to be sent that night to that Muslim Disco Christo Church. So it was the next day I was asking my Bishop, where is one of our elders? And so he has confessed that he came to a resident in the night. Whilst I was asleep.
The Lord arrested him.
Yes. And the Bishop were asking, and I said, what power am I using at all? And I said, no, they asked me, what kind of, they said, juju, what juju do you have? I said, no, my juju is from above. Amen. So that's why I've been telling you that there's no any other power apart from this God. So it is high time you guys have to go believe in this God. So although I had faith originally, but becoming a chief has actually increased my faith to another level. And now I can tell chest out that within this year, the lot of attacks I've had, they come to me to ask, what God am I using? Amen. And that's an opportunity for me to begin to let them know that there is no any other God apart from this God.
Amen. And I've heard that there is an all-night event that is going on in an area that is, demon infested, but there is this all-night which is really changing things.
That's correct.
All-night prayer meeting.
Yes, God told me that. You realize that there are a lot of demonic powers. A lot of the people, the places, you can see there's no improvement. The guys are unable to go to school. They are drunkards. A lot of things are happening. You could see that the area is possessed by demonic powers and witchcraft. So God told me that now, if you want me to become the king of this community, I will, in my presence, what I want you to do for me is that bring out all night every month. So I called all the leaders of the 4 churches: Methodist Church, Assemblies of God Pentecost, and Roman Catholic. So we have non-denominational Jomoro, non-denominational Christian, service. That we do every month.
Wow.
Every month, and you see the hand of God on the community.
Wow.
And I believe that if this will continue in the next 5 years, the community will be regulated.
Amen.
And that darkness will go. And now, the last one, you see people coming from far and near. That tomorrow, there's a chief there that is doing all night. They have not seen some before. So I believe that almost about 53 chiefs, God is going to use that tomorrow to affect the whole community. And so I've come to realize that, and that's why I want to confirm again that it's a call. Now, yes, I called me that you should use me for the people to see the light, so that chiefs will not depend on black power; they will depend on God.
So actually, you are a picture of what happened in First Kings and the Book of Chronicles, First and Second Kings, the Book of Chronicles. You see where they said this king was here; he was very wicked, and then he died, and then this other king took over, and he was God-fearing, and everything prospered. So you are that king who is bringing a change.
Exactly.
Amen.
And I read Hezekiah in Kings, and he said, I read a story, and he said that he was able to clear all the gods. As I'm doing now, when I went, you have a lot of idols in the community. People are worshiping idols. So Hezekiah said, Lord, when I came, I cleared all the idols. And I changed your temple. Now we are serving you as in the days of David. So I don't think I'm ready to die because of what I've done for you. And go realize that what they're saying is true. So I believe that some chiefs come and they serve other gods. But I have come to serve the God of heaven.
The living God.
The living God.
There was something that you mentioned to me which also confirms what I've heard for many years. Well, you said some of these chiefs, they have so much power that they can even vanish.
Yes.
That, let the people hear.
Yes.
Because you are a chief, and so what you are telling is not a hearsay. It's something that you really know is a fact.
Some of the powers that the chiefs have, we have what we call the Tigare power. Tigare power is maybe in terms of danger, you can shout, mention the name of Tigare, and you vanish. Danger like accident. Danger like people coming to you to attack you. You can just mention the name and you just leave the scene. You can have other talisman around you where even not how do you call it gunshots. There's this name gunshot bullets. AK-47 cannot even try you.
Wow.
When they shoot, we can just give them back the
bullets.
Yes, the bullets. When you speak in a public, people should not comment. They are all powers. Then you invoke. So as you leave, for example, if I'm into black power, before I leave my palace, there's a small room that I need to go there and just inquire from them. Now I'm going to this function. What things would I need? So even at times, the things that we wear, the clothes that we use, you are being directed by the gods. Yeah. So as you leave, you carry a lot of, let me say to them, a lot of black power around you. But I've come to realize even at a point where without those powers, people will shoot you and it will not happen. You shoot, it will not happen because the power that has surrounded me is more than those black powers.
Okay. So, what do you make of this Northern king? You remember just recently we heard of this king when he was going to the coronation of the chief, a chief in the north, and he was what do you call it? The forerunners were bees. Bees went ahead of him, guiding him. Have you heard of those?
Yes.
Bees?
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about how does that work?
Yeah, you know the bees they are like fighters. And some may come in the form. These ones are ones that will attack you should you make any attempt. The bees are spoken to. Now they are in the hands of the chief. Anytime they see any evil physical attempt, they will attack you. They see that you have evil intention, they will attack you. But I believe that you also have spiritual beasts, which is the Holy Spirit. You will not see it physically, but spiritually they are there. That is why should I sleep and tender strike even when I didn't even hear that the guy was struck by tender.
Because the Holy Ghost.
Yes. So as we move, our protection is not seen; it's invisible.
Let me ask you. So what is your vision? And that will be the last question. Your vision for the community, because you tell me about how, in terms of graduation from school, you have only about of the 8,000, perhaps about
not less than even 5 people are
graduating. So you want to elevate. You want to elevate a lot of the people. Tell us the vision. The whole world wants to know your vision. You know, it could be there will be somebody watching there, hearing your testimony and the heart that you have for the people, to see that the progress comes where the children are going to school and they are graduating and all that they are not becoming teetotalers and that kind of things. What is the vision and what do you plan? What is the strategy that you're going to use to bring that to come to pass?
Thank you, Reverend. I'm so happy about this question. You know, in every dispensation, something happens. Where currently I am is full of gold. Almost about 200 years, my great-grandfathers came there because of gold. Okay. And we sit on gold. Okay. I've told God that he should locate, he should show me where the gold is. And I'm going to do two things for him. I'm going to build a cathedral. I've located a site that I'm going to build a cathedral where the presence of God will be called every day as a memorial. Now, two, we are going to have a fund to support the poor and the needy and the work of God. That fund has an educational fund in it, a health fund, foster home where people who their mothers and parents are not alive. So my vision is that there must be a fund that can cater for these people in the community. Those who want to go to school, those who want to learn trade. But you see, the presence of God in the community will change all these things. Because the presence of God will help us to locate where the gold is. As I'm telling you now, as I'm talking to you now, we have located a site where the gold, the stone that has the gold is there. But I'm being forced to sacrifice. For almost 2 months now, my elders are calling me that the gods are saying that until we sacrifice blood, they will not show us where the gold is. And I've told them that there's no any other sacrifice better than Christ. So that sacrifice, if they want blood, we can give them the blood of Christ. If they say alive and kick it, we're not going to give them blood of sheep. You see, so my vision is that we should be able to get resource so that we can create more employment, have the guys to work, go to school, and instill the knowledge of God in them. Because lack of knowledge, my people perish. Amos will tell you. So the opposite is true. The more knowledge you have, you prosper. So that is my vision, to build a cathedral for Christ, and also have a foundation where the needy, the poor, those who want to go to school will be also be financed.
See, I like what you said. Without knowledge, the lack of knowledge, knowledge pertains to the fear of God, because the fear of God is the beginning of wisdom, and the beginning of wisdom is the fear of God. The fear of God also is the beginning of knowledge. Okay, Paul trying to tell the children of the knowledge that we have in Christ and the knowledge that is the world. He said the knowledge of the world puffs up, but the knowledge of Christ is what gives us wisdom. And my prayer is that God will give that wisdom and knowledge both to you and to those surrounding you, so that we can be able to see how we can elevate a lot of your community. You have a good heart and a great vision. And for those of you watching, you've just heard me, you have heard a testimony of Nana Kwame in Nkansah, the chief of Jomoro, Jomoro in the Western region. He has a big heart. He has a big heart. In fact, he reminds me of Solomon. Because the Bible tells me, it says that God gave Solomon wisdom, and along with wisdom, he gave him a large heart. And so that is what we ask that the Lord will give to our beloved chief, and the large heart, so he can be able to, you talk about 8,000 people, and the youth of that community, none of them, they go to school and only about 5 graduate. The powers, the principalities are really sitting on them. And so the rate of poverty also is so strong. But here is a man that God has raised. He talks about gold. They sit on gold in the ground. It's buried in the ground. But we are looking for God-fearing men and women who have the resource to be able to say, we want to invest. We want to invest in this, not for ourselves, but for the sake of the 8,000 people in that community. Of course, when we do that, when we set them first, certainly, when the rain falls, some will pour on you, definitely. You work hard, you have to eat from where you are. So those are the people that we are looking for to come to Jomoro and help this chief help the chief, a God-fearing man, to bring development into the Jomoro community. If you are there and you're watching me by Facebook, inbox me. Inbox me. I need your telephone number. I need your address. Inbox me. And once you do that, I'm going to make sure that we communicate it to the chief. And then we will get things started, because we want to help this chief succeed. You know, he wants to make God king of Jomoro. He is a sub-king under God. But all the other gods are nothing. So far, God has demonstrated in the community that those gods are no gods. You know, they've tried to destroy the Deba through rain, and God stopped the rain. They tried to cause the guys who were carrying the palanquin, one of them, to become, you know, disabled so that the palanquin will fall. So this guy will fall off the palanquin. It didn't happen. So in all the instances, God has shown himself strong, and he still continues to show himself strong. So I trust God that you have really enjoyed this moment with Chief Nana Kwame Nkansah, the regional chief of Divisional Chief of the Jomoro community, Jomoro suburb, the suburb. Amen. It is my prayer that the Lord will bless you as you purpose in your heart that, hey, Pastor Pimpong, I want to be part of this project. This is how my contact number, and make sure that you are a Christian. And if you aren't a Christian, make sure you are that person with a selfless heart who has a good motive and want to do something genuinely to benefit and to improve the lives of the people in Jomoro. May the Lord bless you and prosper you. Till the next time that you hear from me, this is Pastor Pimpong coming to you from North Jowulu here in Accra, Ghana, with Pastor Nana Kwame Nkansah second. And behind the camera is who? Behind the camera?
Pastor George Enti.
Pastor George Enti. And for all of us here, it's Pastor Pimpong saying grace and peace to you all. And God bless you. Bye-bye.